of all, Will wants to start this show with violence. And I'm not trying to start the show with violence. You know what I mean? Like, I'm a peaceful person. I don't like violence. I like love. But if you take me there.
You know what? Make sure you run the intro, because I got some things I got to say.
Thank you for watching and listening to the Culture Gumbo podcast. I am one of your wonderful hosts, Shakira. And this right here, next to me.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's your man Wildress. You know what I'm saying? You know me. I got luxurious skin, but I got time today. Thank you for joining.
He always got time.
Thank you for joining the Culture Gumbo.
He got a lot of time.
I think this is episode 26.
Yes.
So we staying consistent like Shakira's hate. So that's awesome. We got an amazing show for y'all today. We also got a 90-day check-in final today. Which by the pre-show, I can tell you, I don't think Shakira's learned much. Because this mother, all she do is fucking hate.
He is telling lies.
I just want to say something before we get started, right? And I
thought we started, but
I put it on my Instagram story and everything, right? So Shakira told one of her friends, probably one of her fine friends, right? That all
my friends are fine.
I probably can't get to the yams enough for now. Shakira told one of her friends, all we'll do is nap and take off and blah, 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 blah. Now, Shakira says pause. Shakira says this because Shakira don't know how to mark her time. Now, Shakira didn't tell her friend that Will records 4 damn shows a week, that he preps for each show. You know what I'm saying? That he's working 50-hour work weeks. You know what I'm saying? And dealing with her bullshit and all the other important women in his life. You know what I'm saying? All the homies bullshit. I deal with everything. You know what I'm saying? So I find times to take naps, relax, relate, release. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Debbie Allen. Shakira now is hating on me the same way she hates on Beyonce. So I feel like I'm in good company.
Not true.
What you got to say?
Not true. First of all, y'all, when I call Will, right? Because we talk outside of doing this podcast. When I call Will, his response always is, I'm exhausted. That's the response. Now, I've told him to sing a new song, but he hasn't changed the tune yet. Then, if he not, I'm tired, is I'm getting up from a nap. And then if it's not, I'm getting up from a nap, then it's I'm off today. I'm off this week. I'm off tomorrow. I'm off. And then I'm like, nigga, when do you work? When do you work? So I'm not negating. Let me throw that out there, people. I'm not negating that Will is not a hardworking man, because he is. It's just that when I call, he is waking up from a nap, about to take a nap, or he's off.
Maybe you call it at the wrong time. Maybe that's God's way of telling you that you interrupted my peace when you call.
Nah, son.
You know what I'm saying? Maybe that's God's way of telling you that.
So I'm just saying,
you can't call me a hard worker. You can't call me a hard worker and say I'm always sleeping. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm barely sleeping. You know what I mean? I'm constantly working. I shoot 4 shows a week. 4. You know what I'm saying? On top of the 4 shows, I'm working 50 hours a week. You know what I'm saying? I'm constantly taking classes so I can expand my craft. Because as y'all know, one day I'm planning on hosting the Tonight Show. You know what I'm saying? Shakira ain't gonna be around because all she do is hate on me. You know what I'm saying? I'm busy, bro. But we done here because I didn't give you a hateration too much time. You hate on Beyonce and you work the polls for George Bush, so I already know what kind of person you are. So let's go ahead and get into the show. Shakira, I would ask you how you feel about it.
I'm a hustler.
Because you brought your negative energy to the pre-show, and I told you I got smoke for you today. But before
we're gonna breathe.
This is our 90-day check-in final. We did it. We actually began this June of this year as a way to better ourselves in various aspects of our life. So Shakira, tell us about your 90-day check-in final.
My 90-day check-in final has been awakening of just where I am personally, financially, really thinking more about the future beyond my right now. And overall, I will say that it has been really eye-opening. We talked about a lot of personal things that we wanted to change and get discipline in. I still think it takes a little while to get that discipline, but being aware of what needs to happen. So some days are good days, some days are not as good, but I will say it's good because I'm able to take this and make sure that these next, what we got 3 months left for the year, these next 90 days is gonna be game changing, like really game changing. And I'm giving it my all. And yeah, I'm giving it all my time and hours, and really to see the growth of this podcast, to be able to have people on, to do some of the things we said we were going to do, go live, have people share their thoughts or write in, call in, text in, whatever the case may be. So I'm excited for the rest of this year to really to see what we've been consistent, and that was one of the things that we talked about, is the consistency, and not allowing the things that we may be going through personally to affect what we're trying to do professionally. So I'm focused, man, and in JC's words, not Chris Tucker, but yeah, I'm focused.
So you used Beyonce's husband's words at the end. Okay.
It's not Beyonce's husband. He was his own man prior to her. So
Beyonce's husband. I think that's dope. I'm right there with you. Especially as far as our podcast is concerned. We constantly have conversations every week about how we can make it better. We did not come into this saying, oh man, like we just came into this saying that we wanted to kind of create our own lane, and do our own thing. And it's been growing pains because what I'm saying, we didn't have any kind of skin in the game in this, so we're still learning. I do love the consistency because in talking to a couple friends who were very successful in their podcast, and they're like, man, I did like 105 episodes before I even got somewhere, and we're at 26. So while I hope it does not take that long, I love the fact that we are consistent. We are constantly working at it. We're doing some making some changes that are gonna come into play soon. For me personally, it was about it was about me resting more. It was about me resting more.
Dun, dun, dun.
Taking more time for myself. It was about me slowing down. It was about me appreciating life more. And I think I'm doing great. The one thing I do understand too, and anyone who personally knows me knows, I'm extremely hard on myself. Like to the point to where, other people focus on their accolades and what they've done. Bro, I forget about shit that I've done yesterday, 2 hours ago, because I'm constantly focused on the next and what's now. And I have personal beliefs in myself that I faltered in certain spaces in my life previously where I'm like, okay, I'm making up time. And I'm like, yo, if I would have known this then, I would be here now. So for me, it's been more about understanding that my journey is my journey. Like I'm in the place that I am for a purpose, not only because yes, I'm going to be successful. Yes, I'm going to host a Tonight Show, or I'm going to host a morning syndicated show, and I'm going to be able to retire my parents, and do some amazing things for the world. But also understanding that there's baby steps for me to take, dealing with like mental emotions and feelings as a Black man out here, coming out of this pandemic. This pandemic started, I lost my dream job. I lost my aunt. I lost one of my best friends. I watched a bunch of my clients pass away from my previous job, literally while I was working with them. So it took a lot out of me. So I literally we're kind of still in the pandemic because,
right.
you know what I'm saying? But the beginning gist of it, I'm literally coming out of my shell again. I literally just want to continue on this path. The key word for me in my life has been consistency. So it's being consistent in everything, whether it be my life, my professional life, my health, everything. So I'm excited for where we're going. While yes, our 90-day check-in final is here. I can speak for Shakira, I can speak for myself when I say this, that we're probably going to continue these things for ourselves personally, and from time to time you'll probably still hear about them. So that's where we are. But let's go ahead and get into this. We got a great show today, as normal. Our culture news, let's go ahead and get into it. So Shakira, Ron DeSantis, I hate that motherfucker.
It's your state.
The governor of Florida, I didn't vote for him, is vowing to transport more migrants from borders to other states. So if you are not familiar with it, earlier this week, actually, there were migrants who were put on a plane, told they were going to Boston. These individuals had not eaten, had not been taken care of, anything, and they were literally dropped off at Martha's Vineyard in an effort to, from DeSantis' standpoint, in an effort to create some kind of controversy, which backfired because that amazing group of people not only took care of those people and rallied to help those individuals, but they're literally calling out the Florida and Texas governor, which is also Governor Abbott. Shakira, tell us more about this, because this sounds ridiculous.
First of all, the fact that he wanted to be the one to claim credit for putting them on an unannounced plane, sending them to Massachusetts, and he felt like he was going to get some type of accolades for doing this, like this was a special project where but these are people, these are human lives, and that you thought it's like dropping somebody off it's like taking someone from a suburban rural neighborhood who's never been exposed to Black people and dropping them off in the hood and hoping that the hood kills them or that they don't survive, and I feel like that's what he did, thinking that they wouldn't be able to survive, that they would be unwanted, that because if you guys know anything about Martha's Vineyard, you know that it's an affluent neighborhood where these are $1 million homes, some of them may be $1 billion homes, and most people, it's a quote unquote vacation spot for celebrities, and a lot of celebrities have homes there. And so the fact that that they reacted the opposite and made sure that they have what they needed and to help them proves that everybody's not as cruel as Governor DeSantis in this world, and that just because you think you're doing something that's supposed to get the attention of, I'm not sure who he was trying to get attention from, but he wanted to be like recognized in a way where it was like, this is a great thing you did, even though his motive was ill. So I'm thankful that there's still good people out there in this world that didn't see that as let's turn our back on them, but let's go ahead and help them find work, help them get on their feet, help them have food, and not treat them like they were immigrants to like treat them like they didn't mean much in here, because the reality is the majority of people in America are immigrants. we didn't start here.
What's funny is his grandparents were immigrants from Italy. So that and this is like 1904. So like that amazes me. What bugs me is he's using $12 million of taxpayers' money to literally take 50 people from Texas to Martha's Vineyard, and they're profiling these people to do this. Like it just and the thing about it is, what's crazy about it is that there's many people in Florida who voted for this man. Like now, mind you, his win I think was like a 0.5 or 0.6 percentage, if I'm not mistaken. So he didn't win by much. But there's people who support this, and he's literally taken the man who shall name, we don't say his name on the show, but he's literally taking his blueprint,
his best
to try
friend,
to win people over, because he's hoping to have a political run for president coming up. So I hope that we remove this man out of office. Shout out to the people in Martha's Vineyard. If you have not had a chance to see the video, it's amazing. You see volunteers coming with food. They're literally helping these individuals out, trying to make sure that they're okay. Like, I mean, I've never seen something so great as far as seeing something that was made for evil turn into something great, and I love
it. And the fact, like, America, we be wasting money. Like, you spent more than $12 million and and bust 9,000 immigrants up north, to New York, DC, Illinois. Like, you spent all this money to get them out of your state. It's crazy to me, because I feel like it's that whole build a wall mentality, or just get them out of where we are, and it's just sad. But the reality is, like, soon Caucasians will be the minority, and that's just the bottom line. And we can just go ahead and wipe them out, because they're going to be the minority.
I don't. Wait a minute. I get the anger. I don't want to wipe out Caucasians. I love.
Okay. So I'm not saying like everybody, but those that don't need to be in power. Let's put it that way. Those that don't need to be in power. I'm not saying, because granted, like I'm not saying I don't like Caucasians or anything like that, so don't twist my words. But what I am saying is there are a lot of Caucasians in power right now that need to go and die off. They need to die off. Okay, so all right. That's just how I feel. These are my words. Okay. That's it. Moving on.
You were on one today. Yo, the thoughts of Shakira McPherson are not the complete thoughts of both of the hosts of the Culture Gumbo podcast.
I said these are my thoughts. My thoughts. You get what I'm saying? Like, I mean, come on. I get it. The reality is a lot of people in power have also said we need to wipe them out that are African American, and they ended up shooting us for no reason. So, or don't get me started on this, Will. We're not doing this today, okay? And I don't want y'all to think I'm so pro-Black, but I am pro-life. Like, that you value the lives of others no matter what color they are. And I just feel like there's a lot of Caucasians in office and in power and have badges and things of that nature who really want to continue to promote evil in this world against those of any other descent. So they need to go. And that's just it. Okay. All right. Moving on to our main ingredients today. Speaking of being Black, there was the Emmys, right? That has happened, and It was a big win for Zendaya, for Lizzo, for Quinta Brunson, and who am I missing? Cheryl Lee
Lee
Ralph.
Ralph. Yeah.
Yes. And it was magnificent. To start it off, if you haven't seen it, please. I mean, I don't know where you've been if you haven't seen it, but if you haven't or go on social media, you should have seen it by now. There was some big wins. Quinta Brunson was the youngest. She's only 32 years old. Can you imagine being 32, winning an Emmy for, I mean,
I had dreams of doing that.
I've never had a dream of that, but I will say it is remarkable. And it just shows you how much more potential she has. She's going to be around for a long time. And I'm looking forward to the next season of her show to come out. But there was some controversy during the Emmys. And when Quinta Brunson went to accept her award, Jimmy Kimmel was the one to be able to announce her award and did the most idiotic quote unquote joke, but not joke at all. It was really disrespectful that he said, "Oh, you're not gonna do this over my dead body," and decides to lay on the ground while she's giving her award-winning speech. It was one thing if he would have got back up, like right after he said that, and then like joke, but you took her shine away, because now when people want to take pictures of her giving her speech, you got this white man on the ground, disrespectfully saying, "Not over my dead body." And the reality is, if a white person created that show, that wouldn't even happen. But the fact that a young 32-year-old Black woman created a show that was loved and is now picked up for this is the third season, I believe.
Second.
Oh, this is the second season. I'm sorry. You have a problem. And although, yeah, he did have her on his show afterwards because she didn't get a chance. He was disruptive. Okay. And it was not called for, and it was so disrespectful. And I feel like Jimmy Kimmel should owe her an apology, because at the end of the day, you felt like that was a joke, but this could have easily turned into some old Will and Chris Rock thing, because if I was Quinta, I would have said on the mic, "Can you please get up so I can deliver my speech?" Because that you tried to take the attention away from her, and it was all wrong. Okay, your thoughts on that before I go to the next thing, because I didn't like it, and I thought it was distasteful, and it was nothing joking about it.
Okay. So it was a great night overall.
Overall, it was a wonderful night. But don't steal my shine. Don't steal my shine.
You're stealing my shine right now. So you got the.
Okay, go ahead.
Go ahead and take a sip of that juice there. Just going back to it, of course, Cheryl Lee Ralph, who's a Hollywood legend, 40-year career. She took home her first Emmy, which was amazing. Her speech was awesome.
Phenomenal.
Zendaya received her second Emmy. Lizzo, she gave an amazing speech also. She's done some incredible work. She received the Emmy also. Now for Quinta Brunson, she did make history. She became the youngest Black woman nominated for the award. She's only the second Black woman in the Emmy 74-year history to win for outstanding writing for a comedy series. Now concerning the Jimmy Kimmel bit, he actually did apologize. She was on the show that Wednesday. And I thought it was dope because during his monologue, she came out, she interrupted him like as a bit. He of course apologized during the bit, and then he allowed her to thank even more people. She had her Emmy in hand. During the interview, the one thing that Quinta did say was, at the time she wasn't as upset. Like she was just kind of like, she
was in her moment.
Right. She said she was in her moment. She was having such a good time. She had won an Emmy. she did say that she didn't take any kind of maliciousness to it because Jimmy Kimmel was one of her earliest champions as far as people who not only cheered her on but showed love. He saw the show early on and said it was rave reviews, which of course also encouraged more people to watch it. So I do understand people being upset about the situation. I don't think, you know what I'm saying, since, you know, Quinta not only got her moment, Jimmy did apologize for it. Jimmy Kimmel doesn't, I don't know much about what he's done in the past, but I know when it comes to something like Quinta Brunson and some of the stars of today, he's not one of those people who definitely wants to hold people down. And he did admit that the bit was in bad
overkill.
In the way that it was done. But I do love the way that Quinta handled the situation.
She handled it with grace.
To show grace and be thankful for that moment. She held the moment. But it does kind of set a tone of like, hey, like you really can't do this when we're having our moments, because you know most people will realize that, you know, when it comes to Black entertainers, we are people who are highly disrespected and cast to the side in many ways, and I think this was a really good teachable moment. I'm not going to completely just hold this over Kimmel's head, because not only did he apologize, but Quinta was able to have her moment, and she was able to also go on the show also. I mean, it was a bonehead move, but
it's not to be held over his head. But here's my problem.
Mm-hmm.
We don't make a lot of historical, like we do, but it's not as often. So when we do, step aside.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so it's not really me going at Jimmy Kimmel per se, but somebody else is going to try it. Like, I feel like we're always tried. Like, why do we have to always have to explain ourselves or be in these awkward, uncomfortable situations when really all we're trying to do is win like everybody else? All we're trying to do is continue to be the best in our field, whatever that may be. But you know, part of me sometimes feel like I'm so happy that all these Black women were nominated and won Emmys, and then any other people that were nominated, even if they didn't win, it was just that consideration. But sometimes there is something in the back of me that says, are they doing this because they feel bad for us as the Black people? Or are they really appreciating our art and who we are and our creativity? And I'm not necessarily saying that particularly for the Emmys, but sometimes it can feel that way after a while, because it's like, we always got to fight. We always have to, it's always another jump. Just like he said, you know, although it was a simple joke, and although I do like Jimmy Kimmel, like I watch his show, I like him. I think he's very funny. And I don't deem him to be racist in no way, shape or form. But
he had a dumbass moment, essentially.
Yeah. Whomever, whether he wrote it or some of his writers wrote it, the bottom line is, you know, we don't consider that it was offensive until you're in the act, and now people are playing it back, and then you're getting his feedback, and then people are DMing him and messaging the show, you know, his show, and now it's become something bigger than it has to be. So I think that a lot of times it's not to take away the art and craft of comedy as well, but it's to say, can we consider some things before we actually do them, so it doesn't seem like you're trying to pull a rug underneath somebody? Like, should she have the jump? Her whole freaking dress had a train, and you're interrupting the train because your body is on the ground. Like, it was just, to me, it was an embarrassing moment for him, and and for her, she wasn't gonna let nobody steal her shine, because it was a historical moment.
So the thing about this is, and I've talked to a couple of the homies, both Black and white, about it. the one thing I find is women were more upset about this moment. Black women even more, and I understand it because I'm not a black woman. Clearly, you can see that, but you all are constantly fighting for the place at the table when, in many ways, you all are what is holding the table up. So I can understand your frustration with that, and many women who shared that expression on Twitter. I think this is one of those things where I don't think it's like, oh, they feel bad for us. If you honestly understand, we are the culture. Like
No, I know that. But when I'm, like even sometimes with certain brands and companies, and they feel like, just like for instance, I was on social media today, and there was, I think he's a rapper or someone, and he had posted to Chick-fil-A, when are you going to have the spicy nuggets? And Chick-fil-A response was, your community will know when we release the spicy nuggets. And just to point out that example, and then his response was, your community. But my thing is, sometimes the thought process is some of these bigger corporations that are not led with a lot of us in those positions to say, hey, wait, that might come across as a little,
it creates more awareness and opportunity when you see tone deaf comments and tone deaf.
But why are we still tone deaf at this point in 2022?
So as someone who works in social media, I'll say this. In a lot of situations, in a lot of cases, and from where I work now, they're great about it. But you see other companies. These companies are literally trying to catch the wave of what our culture really is. They're trying to bring many of us in there, because now they're beginning to truly understand that we drive the culture, from your sayings to to what's popular, everything else. But there's going to be so many more moments where these people miss the mark. Number one, because you got to consider this, right? We're still coming off of like our parents and our grandparents not getting the opportunities that they should have got. You know what I'm saying? We are the generation that's like, yo, the buck stops here. Fuck that bullshit. Cut that bullshit out. So we're the ones who are cultivating the change in that. So your frustration is valid, but you also have to understand that it's still going to be a gradual change. Our generation is not going to be the generation that's going to see that full change.
No, I agree.
Because I understand that social media is literally only maybe 2 decades old. You know what I'm saying? And these people were already behind in so many ways, which is why they're trying to bring us into more of these positions, more or less. And a lot of times this happens when these tone deaf situations happen. So the one thing you kind of have to understand is, and it's no excuse, but it's realizing you're going to continue to see this kind of bullshit happen.
Until we get in the room, until we get at the table. But the reality is, right, I hire people all the time. I do interviews on a weekly basis for the company that I work for, which is a huge corporation. Sadly, the majority of people that I'm interviewing are the same color as me.
Okay.
Starting at the bottom, ranging in ages 20 to 60.
Okay.
I say that to say a lot of us out there are applying to get into these rooms, are looking and seeking and getting degree after degree to get into these rooms, whether it's media, entertainment, marketing, whatever the case may be, so that we can shed that light. And so you're right. I don't think that our generation, my generation, our generation is going to really see it, but I do believe that the generation behind us will see some major change happen in this country at some point. I don't know how long or when that's going to be, or maybe I'll be 80, who knows? Right. But I do think that it is going to take time. What?
You're 50 now?
I'm close. But I do think that it's gonna take some time. And I said to say, you know, I'm gonna keep rooting for us to be in those rooms, for us to be in those positions, for us to continue to learn and grow, or you build your own platforms and your own companies and corporations and show these other companies how it's done. And that's it. That's
you're seeing it. I mean, you know what I'm saying? You look at social media platforms like Fanbase, run by Isaac Hayes III. Like, we're literally, it's like, yo, instead of coming to the same table, we're building our own tables and so many things. But just like in this next thing that we're going to talk about, this racism is here. Like, it's not really going anywhere because of the fear and of people's acceptance of change. And it's because it's like, oh, you know, this is as American as apple pie. Well, fuck the apple pie. Let me get some peach cobbler, move the fuck aside. So like, it's just one of those things where it's about continuing to fight, continuing to open up eyes for that. Of course, you know, this Emmy situation was something of that nature. But then, of course, too, you got to think about when we get into these positions and making sure that nothing does happen, which I think is why so many people were offended or mad about the Oscars. You know, because Will Packer was behind it, and it was such an unfortunate situation.
Which he couldn't control that.
Right. And I don't even want to get back into that, but you have to consider the times where we get there. We got to make sure that we continue to uplift each other, and we got to make sure that we continue to not only support, but that we over support. You know what I'm saying? Which is, like I said, this next thing we're getting into, you know, the Haley Bailey Little Mermaid situation is a prime example. You know, you have to look at situations like this, and you have to see this as the beginning of being the catalyst for change and forcing people to not accept what is, but understanding that what is now the norm. You know what I'm saying? We're going to encounter that no matter what. You know what I'm saying? If you look at the Oscars, you look at the Emmys, you look at the people behind these award shows, it's still a majority of 60 to 70-year-old white males.
Right.
So they have to be phased out. You know what I'm saying?
Awesome.
It's unfortunate. Awesome. It's unfortunate. I don't want to bring up how these people do get phased out, but the circle of life.
Right. They need to retire, you know, let it go, because
they don't retire. These folks die in positions.
I know.
So it's just one of those things where we constantly have to consistently seek growth. We have to consistently want to be better. We have to learn so that when these opportunities come up, we are fully prepared to be able to accept it, make the change, and make it the norm. So, like, you know, I'm sure everyone has seen the biggest story this week has been Haley Bailey's Little Mermaid trailer, which is probably one of the biggest things the most ridiculous things I've ever seen happen. So the teaser trailer is for the live action version of Disney's Little Mermaid. And in, of course, the trailer, Ariel is played by Haley Bailey, of course, from Grown. Is it Grown? Yeah, Grownish.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things where a Black woman is playing a previously white character, even though it's a fucking cartoon.
Right. That's the other thing.
The trailer was so popular that the biggest trending thing was seeing young girls, young Black girls in particular, seeing their reaction to seeing Haley as Ariel, which the trailer is amazing if you have not seen it. Now, many of these reactions of these Black girls are like, you know, oh man, like she looks like me. Even young white girls are like, oh man, this is beautiful. One was so funny, I think it was really popular, where the young white girl was like, is that Whitney Houston? So it was, everything has been positive. But of course, you have the trolls who are going out to, of course, slander it. There was 1.5 million dislikes on the YouTube video that Disney has actually hidden, of course, and we know the reason why. And this is another situation where racists want to race.
It saddens me, because it's just like, why can't we change the narrative? Like, why, this is for children at the end of the day, but not only for children, like, I mean, Little Mermaid came out, I don't have the exact year, but when it first came out, yes, it was a white woman that played, the Little Mermaid.
But even she's excited for it. Like, she has,
because it proves change in this world. Like, to make Little Mermaid be a Black woman proves of where we're going and acceptance of everyone. And to me, I also think about, like, baby dolls, for instance, or Barbies, right? You have seen over time how Barbies have transitioned to it was only one skin tone at one point. It was just a Black Barbie and she was light. Now you got Afro Barbie, you got, dark chocolate Barbie, you got, because the company recognizing, hey, there's more shades to Black. There's Latinas, there's so many complexions in the spectrum that we need to incorporate everyone. And so I think the trailer was amazing. I actually want to go see it. I don't have any kids to take, so I'm gonna look like I don't know, a little stalker, because I do want to go see the movie, or at least pay for it at home so I don't have to go with screaming kids. But I'm excited to see a young Black girl play the mermaid. And I think that all this racism that's popping up has always been there. And like you said, we're going to continue to see it. Sad to say, but it's true. We're going to continue to see it. And my thing is, and I watched this girl video on social media, and she said, why does everyone have a problem, like, with, Black people, like, as a whole, like, what do we do? But then I also seen this woman say, but y'all didn't complain when Angelina Jolie played Afro Latina in Mighty Heart as Marion Pearl, when they had Ben Affleck be Antonio Mendez, and he's not Latino. When they had Elizabeth Taylor play Cleopatra, she's not Egyptian, but you make a Black girl a mermaid and everybody got something to say.
So first of all, let me say this. Mermaids are not real.
Okay? Right. Let's start there. Let's start there.
Color
it could have been blue.
Want them to be.
Right.
Also, if you take a look at the original 1989 film, which I recently found out, I think the main illustrator is a Black man. But you also see a Black mermaid in the film. Now, the director of the film actually gave a great interview where he actually talked about the fact that Halle Bailey was literally the first person that they saw. And he was like, when he said basically when they saw her, that was it. Like, there was no other person, which is amazing in itself. Like, of course, they have to do like different screen tests and things of that nature, but that she was the first and only choice, which is amazing in itself. Now, if we want to talk about changing race of things, man, I can look at the damn 60s movies where you got the white men playing indigenous people, you know what I'm saying?
Shirley Temple had blackface on. I mean, like, it's been a lot. And so but I feel like, but once you say, oh, a Black person's going to play this, it changes everything. But you can make a white person play blackface. You can make a white person be Latina, but you make and again, mermaids are not real. So this is not even like she's depicting a person in real life. It is a cartoon, a character. But all in all, I'm really happy for Halle Bailey, and I'm really happy for all the young kids around the world, all colors, shapes, sizes, and races, because this is just aspiration, for them to know that things change.
I
Like,
think what I love is that this is going to turn out to be like a Black Panther thing again. Like if you remember, like young Black kids seeing Chadwick Boseman on screen as a superhero for the first time, and then how we all went to the movies, like it was a fan. Like I'm excited for November to go see Black Panther 2 because we coming out all white. You know what I'm saying? We doing our thing, whatever. But I love the fact that our people comes together, and then the allies also come together, and they're a part of it also, which is amazing. And I think Little Mermaid is going to be another one of those things.
oh, it's gonna be crazy in the theaters
for young girls. Like these people are upset about a fucking fish, like it's a fish, bro. You know what I'm saying? It's a fish, dog, and you're upset that the fish is not white. Like,
but guess what? This is more fuel for writers and other
I mean, if we're being honest, it's a great casting of the film, but a friend of mine who's a big Disney person was like, this is a white woman. She's like, if people are upset, why aren't people upset that Ursula is not being played by a person in drag?
Right.
Instead of Melissa McCarthy, who I think Melissa McCarthy is amazing.
Right.
There's so many things to be upset about. I believe also in the movie, the live action version of Pinocchio, there's an issue there also. So it's like, you know, the one thing I do believe is also too that I do want to see more original Disney films being made of, you know, that's going to show, you know, Spanish,
different ethnicities,
people. Like I do want to see those more natural stories, but I understand the remakes of the classics and making them. It's not a thing of people saying woke. I hate people saying woke because they use it in the wrong terminology. But it's allowing it to be referenced in today's modern world for the modern audience. Like I don't think there's anything wrong with it, and I just think it's a lot of old white dudes that just want to cry and be.
Yeah, and I feel like I think social media has made it worse, but this is such a sensitive culture time. Like everybody is so sensitive that any little thing, there's an uproar on social media about a mermaid movie. Like
I don't even want to say really? I don't even want to say sensitive. I think this is ignorance. Because the thing about it is here's the gift and curse of social media. We have this brand new platform that is, I mean, it's only 20, 30 years old, that's still in this infancy, right? Where everybody now has a voice and they're able to express exactly.
And they want to say everything.
So now everything is overly done to the point to where races now are not hidden. You're out in the open. But also at the same time, I believe that social media has also created a space for accountability. You can't say this racist shit anymore and not be held accountable. You can't come out and say these misogynistic things anymore and not be accountable. So I think there's a difference in saying that people are being sensitive and people are being ignorant. Now, there are people who are completely ignorant, whether it be those individuals who are just like, oh, a woman can't play this, or a Black person can't play this, or such and such can't do this because it's not with the social norms. But on the other side, the sensitive part about it is understandable because, yo, you can't be out here just fucking saying, oh, let's let Mel Gibson play Martin Luther King. Bitch, Mel Gibson is a full-blown motherfucking racist. I don't give a fuck how much I like Lethal Weapon. Mel Gibson is a full-blown motherfucking racist. Your point is not the same. Somebody said, oh, well, let's remake Mulan. Mulan was literally for that culture. You stupid motherfucker. What are you talking about? Why do you keep coming out saying these stupid things, hoping that you're making sense? Like, you're like, oh, yeah, this gonna go off when I post that. No, you dumbass.
It's not. You don't
know what the fuck you're talking about.
It's
so, like,
not.
let's take a minute. Let's take a step back. You want to be all in our culture. You want to be all up in our shit. You want to question every fucking thing that we're doing. But as soon as something popular happens or something great happens, now all of a sudden it's fucking hate. Now it's this. Okay, listen, Mr. White Man, you were just at your culture club singing fucking 50 Cent in the club with a bottle of champagne in your hand. Stay the fuck out of our culture if you're gonna continue to do this dumb shit and say this out of pocket shit that's gonna get you beat the fuck up in real life.
See?
Y'all posting this shit on social media and y'all thinking motherfuckers not gonna see y'all, bro. I'm telling you right now, there are black folks out here who will give you full smoke over something as little as the Little Mermaid. You are not understanding, big dog. If I see you out here and you say something about Black Panther, you gotta run me the fade. Black Panther came out. I was in that theater when them credits rolled, and then a tear dropped down my motherfucking face because it was powerful, and we had our moment, and we're just now having our moment. Like you every fucking January 15th, you out here posting Martin Luther King quotes, and then the next day you hate Colin Kaepernick. Like, what the fuck are y'all doing, bro? Like, I said I wasn't going to get on my soapbox today, and I'm not going to do it. You're not going to do it. You're not it's not
See, and y'all think I be going off, but really, it comes back to Will.
Nah, yo, because motherfuckers is stupid, bro. Like what the fuck are you talking about? Like, shut up. Just dumb. Like, it's the culture is changing. So either be a dinosaur and die with it, or change.
That's it. Point blank, period. That's it. So
anyway,
on to our seasoning and spices. A little dabble here, dabble Shakira, there. Mm-hmm.
Your hometown. Yeah, your hometown. Y'all, I hope you representing. They just dropped the trailer for I Want to Dance with Somebody, which is the biographical musical drama based on the life of American pop icon. The
iconic, legendary, New Jersey,
Whitney Houston.
queen.
If you have not seen the trailer is actually amazing. It actually stars Naomi Aki. I hope I'm not butchering her name. But it's actually starring her. She'll actually be portraying Whitney Houston. It also stars Stanley Tucci as Clive Davis.
That's Clive Davis.
Ashton Sanders from Moonlight is actually playing Bobby Brown. And shout out to Nafisa Williams. You know what I'm saying? Philly stand up. She'll be playing Robin Crawford, Whitney's friend and assistant. So Shakira, I know you got to be hyped. You know what I'm saying? This your crib. How are you feeling about the trailer?
So the trailer is dope. I am super excited. I hope this is the last one though, because we have had.
No, we're not acknowledging Lifetime's movies. Don't do that here.
But I'm excited for this to come out. I'm actually gonna go see this in the movies in December because it comes out in December. I mean, Jersey, stand up. Like, I'm super hyped about this. I think it's going to be really good. It's just, it always makes me real sad because I wish she was still here with us. So it's like, sometimes I'm a little skeptical about biopics. Sorry. When that was a moment, when the person is no longer here, because they can't share their testament. So I always wonder who's telling this story, where'd this come from? Are who's telling the story? But I really think it's gonna be a really good movie. And I hope everybody goes out and supports. And I hope some of these funds are gonna go towards, her family, somebody that, that if she was alive, she would be getting paid for this. So I hope that it goes to a good cause as well. But I'm excited. And I like that the light of it is not to shed all the negativity of her, but really the other part, the light that she was.
So seeing Naomi in the trailer, how, from what you see so far, how are you feeling about it?
I actually think she's gonna do amazing. Yeah. I have no issues with it. I think they did a good casting, because when we did see the Lifetime, it was the worst casting ever, but Lifetime normally they do bad with casting. And I'm a big firm believer that with the right cast, any movie can be great. if you have the right cast, if you're casting properly. And I do think they did a really good job with her and the individual that's playing Clive Davis.
Definitely. You know who I did like portraying her was Gabrielle Dennis when she portrayed her in the New Edition film.
Oh, she did good too.
With McLean. She
Yeah.
did an excellent job for that also. But that's definitely going to be exciting to see. Hillman Homecoming.
Woo!
35 years of a different world.
The reality is it makes me feel so old. That a different world is 35 years old. You know, I can sit and watch that right now, and it's going to be the Hillman Homecoming is going to be reruns of everything on September 24th. So please watch it, which is like next week.
It'll be on TV1 also.
On TV1. Mm-hmm. And I remember when it came out, and you know, just to think like that I was like, you know, well, y'all know my age anyway, but just to think that, you know, I was like 6 years old when this came out, and I was watching it, and it was, you know, from the Cosbys to that transition, and Jasmine Guy. I mean, it's just going to be amazing. And I just think this is necessary. And for those that have children, you should make this a family day and just kind of sit and watch, because we don't get as much great shows like this anymore at all, like where it's really sharing who we are, as you know, our individual, our creatives, our, you know, people who don't know what they want to do in life, and you're just you go to college and you partying and you're doing everything else, but you're not even sure what you want to major in, and those things don't happen anymore. And that's also why I appreciate Quinta Brunton's show so much, Abbott Elementary, because it gives me some of these vibes that I got with A Different World, which is depicting us on the screen, but in a light that is real reality that some of us have faced, even being in our inner city school and things of that nature. So although I wasn't in college when A Different World came out, but watching it today and going back, it's just so relatable. It's just so relatable today if I go back and watch that. And you get to kind of just really appreciate the writers and everybody that contributed to the show. And it's like, sometimes I miss seeing stuff like that on TV, because I do think that we grew up in a time where TV was good. There was a mix, right? There was Facts of Life. There was, you know, not just Black shows, but there was a variety of family shows.
You consider Facts of Life a Black show?
No.
Oh.
I'm just saying, well, I mean, you still had, you know, but what I'm saying is, like, that's why I said it was a variety of different shows that you could watch, and it was wholesome. Like, I don't know.
I mean, you still got shows like Grownish. I mean, we just, you know, Blackish just went off the air. You know what I mean?
Blackish was one of those really good, you know, but it's not what I'm saying is, I think that it was way more then, and they were really open. And I feel like now we're starting to get back into that groove where we're having more Black writers in the room, and shows have more depth in the content, because remember, there wasn't reality TV back then. So reality TV has took everything, where it was no more scripted TV. It was like, you want to watch who's dating who's going to get married, who's going to get the ring, you know. And we got so far into reality TV that those scripted shows, TV shows, kind of dissipated. So anyway, I still have to say, like, I will be sitting at home watching Hillman Homecoming.
When you watch A Different World, which character did you relate to the most?
It's so funny you're going to ask the different parts of my life, because I think that the hippie was a portion. What's her name? Gosh, gee.
Winifred? Freddie?
Yes, Winifred. Yes. She was probably, in my growing up stages, she was always about like, whatever, it's whatever. It's, just having that vibe. I think I liked her.
She had one of the greatest character transitions ever. Like you said, she was a hippie in the beginning, and by the end of the show, she was like a full-blown lawyer, and
she got her stuff together. And yeah, she I definitely relate to that more, because I felt like that was me, like, I don't know what I want to do. I'm just gonna go to college just because. Like I went to school with no purpose whatsoever. Like I literally just was like, well, everybody else is going to college, I guess I need to go to college. It wasn't like, oh, I want to be this, and and then I would look at all the curriculum of different courses I could take. At one point I wanted to be a weatherologist, not the weatherologist, meteorologist, sorry. Yep. I wanted to be a meteorologist. No, I was going to say I wanted to learn the weather, and then I wanted to say a meteorologist, so whatever. And
you know what? I don't think most people know what you have a degree in. Like you really about that.
That's the problem. That's what I'm saying. I feel like I really related to her, because it was like, I could take this. Then I wanted to be a psychologist, and I was like, then I went to urban planning and was like, maybe I'll do this. And I was just taking courses just to be like, this is fascinating, but I do have a degree in radio production. Mm-hmm. At Howard, from Howard. And then I was like, shout out to Felicia Rashad, because I am jealous of all the kids that got her as a dean right now.
Shout out to Debbie Allen, because Debbie Allen was the person who ran a different world.
Right. You got that right. So yeah, so I think that's definitely a character that I related to, because it's like, it was like, I don't know.
You know what's funny is I didn't have that issue in college. I always knew who I wanted to be.
I believe that.
Like since the age of 3, I've known exactly who I wanted to be. The unfortunate thing, because many people, every time somebody sees like one of our podcasts or one of the other podcasts that I'm a part of, and they're like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, "Yo, like I'm still learning. Like I took a different path because it was put on me." So if you don't know much about me, I grew up. I'm basically Theo Huxtable, dyslexic. We didn't find out about my we found out about my dyslexia early. We didn't find out about my ADHD until I got to high school. And I was having issues to where I almost got into a fist fight with a teacher because I got accused of cheating on the test. And like, no, it was my ADHD. But I've always wanted to be like Regis Philbin, like a mix of Regis Philbin and before it was Russell Simmons. So more like now, if you think about like a Steve Harvey, I've always saw myself in that light because I just kind of how I present things. Me going to college was a way for me to connect with more people. And I wanted to prove to myself that I could completely do it and stick by it. And I had so many missteps. I got in trouble in college. I got kicked out of school with a nice GPA. I had to restart a few times. That's actually how me and Shakira met in our master's program. So it's just one of those things where it's like I've taken the path that is very sitcomish almost to a point, and I'm still on that path, and I'm grateful for it. But it shows like a different road that literally showed me that I could, I could be that. Like I could achieve those things that I wanted to do, and I could go those unorthodox roads. So
I think you always have had the confidence to be that. Like I get that. Like, yeah, we have our slumber moments and blah, 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 but for me, I completely know you wanted to do what you want to do forever, because you grew up with that confidence to do that, whether it's something, I think so. I really do.
If I'm being honest, most people like my personality and feel like I exude all this stuff. My confidence is because it's everything for me is fight or flight. I'm an introvert. Like my best friends.
He's not an introvert.
I am the person where if I'm at a party, I want to stand in the corner. But for some people for some reason, people really like to talk to me or like to have me around. So when you're standing in the corner and you're being pushed to the middle, it's fight or flight. So it's like, yo, all right, it's time and it's not fake or anything. It's a different part of my personality. So then I have those moments like me, you talked about it. Like whenever I do a podcast or a show, everything for me is like a natural thing of like how I move, how I talk, how I speak. But when I'm done, I literally got to go into my cocoon and I got to recharge because it burns me out. Like it gives me high anxiety because I'm thinking about everything under the sun. But at the same token, being able to speak and just be myself has always been my saving grace. I'm not a person that's ever felt like I was talented or anything like that. But then over time, like even my teachers, like, I was always a good student, but I was problematic. So my teachers would be like, if you sit up front with me and you do your work, I'll let you get up and I'll let you do whatever you want to do for the last 5 or 10 minutes. And I thrived on that. And like, I still thrive on that now. Like there's still moments where I'm like, dang, I'm like, maybe I'm not. And this is literally like a moment of vulnerability where I'm like, maybe I'm not for this. You know what I'm saying? Because, the podcasts aren't going as fast as they should, or the success is not coming as quick as it should. But it's like, truthfully, there's nothing else I would rather do. Like even acting. Like many people don't know, I'm pretty good at acting apparently. It's supposed to be in a couple stage plays. Every time I was supposed to do a play or record or go do a film, my anxiety would take over. So it's like therapy has literally moved me to a place where I now have the freedom to be able to do a podcast, where I feel like now if I got an offer to do a movie or something, I would do it and I wouldn't back out of it. So it's like people are like, man, you're very charismatic and you're very out there. When truth be told, this is my defense mechanism. Like even like and I know what you're gonna say when I say this, even with women, I'm shy. I am completely shy. I don't know how to flirt. I don't know how to do
y'all. No, first of all, y'all.
I don't know how to do any of that.
Y'all listening. This one says I'm complete. So either you completely shy, and then women are literally throwing themselves at Will.
Women don't throw themselves at
Will, don't sit here and like women.
I'm single, bro. I'm single. I ain't got. You see,
Will women offer you things? They want to buy you things.
Yo, cut it out.
They want you to, they want you to have things. So I say all that to say, he could be the little shy kid in the corner if he wants to, but people are always peeping him out because of who he is and his personality. And like, people don't do that to me. Like people don't do that to me at all. Like I probably give off a vibe that is just, I'm shy. I actually am, really. And so I give that off and they don't come near me, men or women. And I don't give that vibe that Will gives that vibe. Like, oh, I'm friendly. Oh, I'm a teddy bear. Oh, come. Oh, yeah. So he gets offered rides, foods, all type of stuff. So I just say that to say, he may be playing this role for y'all, But the reality is, although yes, no, I do completely understand that mechanism that you're saying, that defensive mechanism, but the reality is you are good at what you do. And when you know what you want to do, you still don't let that get in your way. And if that means that therapy has helped you get there, that's wonderful. And that's what it's going to take. So, I'm not in therapy. It's something needs to help me get there. Jesus, God, Holy
Therapy
Spirit.
Therapy is the best thing ever. And I always tell people, if you want to get a therapist, get your Black woman, because she is not gonna.
I haven't had the best experience, so that would not be my suggestion at all. But I will say that get you a therapist that works for you. I don't care what color they are, but they have to work with you, for you, against your personality. They have to try to understand who you are and what they're analyzing, because you are a subject, that they have to learn ultimately.
Hey, yo, for anybody watching this, Shakira line, I don't get rides. Don't let her tell y'all this nonsense. But we've gotten off topic.
He got stuck on that. So clearly I hit a pinch nerve.
You've been slandering me a lot today. Yo, you've been like a world tour of slander. But yeah, so I'm excited. Getting back on topic, A Different World, 35th anniversary. Make sure you tune in.
Because we're gonna talk about it after I watch it, because I think it's gonna be so good, and it's gonna be a little bit of commentary as well.
Amazon Prime, so I don't understand why you have to wait until then. But
cool. What's on Amazon Prime? No, but I want to watch it with them. I don't want to watch it just to watch all the episodes.
Why don't you just support Black cinema and watch it?
Whatever. I'm watching Miss Society tonight because I found it on Netflix yesterday, and I was like, this is one of my favorite movies, and I'm about to ad-lib my way tonight.
That's the perfect segue. So let's go ahead and if this is the last thing before we end the show of Shakira's ridiculousness today. If you could bring back anything from the 90s, what would it be?
Pagers. You want to know why? Because nobody could get a hold of me. Wow. And I could pretend and say, I didn't get your page. And you wouldn't be able to find me. And it's an oxymoron, right? Because the other day I said to myself, if I lost my phone, my life would be over, because everything's in my phone. I got 7 emails. They all come to my phone. Everybody calls me for business, for advice, for something they want from me. But the reality is, if I could go back and you could just page me when you need me, I could selectively call you when I want to. And that way I won't have to worry about this whole, you reach me when you want to. And then if I don't answer, you on my social media talking about, I called you, I make a post, you like, I called you, why you didn't call me back? Because clearly I don't want to. So I just think that I would bring that back all day. And I would bring back, I think that's the main thing I would bring. And good music. I'll bring back the good music. I love the music from the 90s. Okay, go ahead.
Good music, authenticity, and 90s sitcoms. There's no need for me to explain that.
That's it.
That pager thing was ridiculous because you have a phone that you ignore now. Anyway.
I don't. I just don't get your calls.
Stop it. As we close out our show, sadly, we do have to say, send our condolences to a couple of individuals, amazing individuals. PNB Rock, who was killed earlier this week in Los Angeles at a Roscoe's Chicken and Waffles. That was heartbreaking. I hate the fact that people share shit like that on social media. Seeing that was not something that
no. And why are we that's what I'm saying with the whole pagers. Why are we so quick to always pull out our phone and do a video instead of calling 911?
Because we're a show me world and it's ridiculous.
I mean, it's really sad. And it's like, nobody should have to see that on their timeline, like there's enough crime shows out here if y'all really want to, but we don't need to actually see that. And it was just LA, all these inner cities, like we got to do better. Like y'all killing people because y'all jealous or envy, or the fact that they got more money than you. Like we got to do better. Like that young man was only 30 years old. He didn't get an opportunity to even live, and it keeps happening. So it's like we want to complain about police brutality, but we don't want to talk about what's happening in our communities to ourselves. And I think that needs to change, like point blank.
Ice-T keeps pointing out also too that the people are going to Los Angeles, and it's definitely not me, overloading it. But he pointed out something great, that
I've seen that.
You don't need to be coming out to LA and announcing stuff or wearing all your jewelry. Like there's a huge gang culture out there. Like they are with it at all times, and cats are hungry. So please.
And he said him, Snoop, a lot of those celebrities, like he was like, if we out, y'all don't see us wear a lot of jewelry. Why? Because we know where we're at. Like we know how rowdy it gets in these streets. Like that's the bottom line. And then some of them were gang affiliated as well. A lot of them are. So it's just like, be careful. Like everybody blows up and they want to move to LA and think it's the hottest spot. But what you fail to realize is there's some hungry people out there, and they have no remorse, and they don't care about your family or friends or whoever your loved ones are. So sending condolences to PNB Rock, his family, his kids, the people that he left behind that love and care. And we got to do better, whether it's posting on social media where you are, every place you are. Like, I just think, period, whether you're a celebrity or not celebrity, like that's why I don't post where I am until till I've already left that spot. Like not like real time posting, because you never know who's watching, whether it's a gang or not gang. Like you don't know who is watching you on the internet, and you're just like, oh, I'm here, I got all this money, or we eating, or whatever the case may be. Like it's a hated world out here. So just be careful, everybody, be careful out here, and make sure when y'all posting, you have left wherever you're posting, because it's no joke to real time tell people where you are. So
definitely. On top of that, sending condolences to the family of both Jesse Powell, the singer of You, which was like the wedding song.
Baby, it's you, the way you walk, the way you talk, the way you.
Yeah, he recently passed away. And also David Arnold, an amazing comedian. He was the showrunner and creator of
that girl Lele.
They actually announced that it was actually due to natural causes. So love on your people, man. Live life.
Yes, and I scrolled through his Instagram. He was healthy. He was health conscious. He worked out, looked like he ate well, and all that stuff. But sometimes, and I'm going to say this to my Black men, go to the doctor though. Like, get annual checkups. Once you get like 40s, 50s, get that colonoscopy done. You know what I'm saying? Like, make sure you don't have colon cancers. Make sure, your heart is good. Like, and I mean, Black women too, but I know a lot of Black men in the fear of doctors. I had a friend of mine, had a family member that recently passed, and he had colon cancer for 2 years and never shared with his family that he had colon cancer, and went through it alone and did not get any treatment because of fear, or maybe his belief system, I'm not sure. But and then once he started to look a certain way, then the family was like, something's going on. And unfortunately, then like a month after that, he's passed. And sometimes that's pride. Sometimes that's just, you're scared, because some people think if I go into the doctor or the hospital, I'm never coming out. But I just want to say, like, first of all, like with Jesse Powell, David Arnold, they're both in their early 50s. They're saying, natural causes, I believe, for both of them, just passed away. Jesse Powell, they just said he died peacefully. Yeah. But I say all that to say, we're too young to be 50, 51, and we just dying peacefully. That's supposed to happen when you're in your 80s and 90s. And so that means something else was going on that nobody ever got checked out, or whatever the case may be. So I just want to throw that PSA out there that, my Black men that's listening to this show, that's watching the show, please don't be afraid to just once a year go to the doctor and get everything checked out, just to make sure you're still good. Even though physically you look good on the outside, we don't know what's happening inside. And that's just real talk.
Definitely. Well, it has been another amazing show. Thank you for tuning in today. As we close out, let's go ahead and get our top it off segment in. So Shakira, what are you listening to and what are you watching right
now? I'm listening to Nicole Walters' podcast. If you probably don't know who Nicole Walters is, do you?
All right, you saw I was looking, trying to figure out what you were going to say.
I follow her on social media. She also had a show on, I believe it was on A&E. It was about her family. She's a business mogul. She owns a few companies, Black woman. And so her podcast is, she recently filed for a divorce from her husband, and she has 3 children that are adopted. And so she kind of shares a lot about her life and things that she's going through personally, but also as a business owner. So she gives great tips personally and professionally. And right now I'm just on a vibe of connecting with, like-minded great folks. So I've been listening to her podcast. That's what I'm on right now.
Okay. I'm currently listening to Ari Lennox. Age, Sex, Location. This album is incredible. If you love R&B, definitely give it a listen. Shout out to Dreamville. Also still listening to JID. So we rocking. You know what I'm saying? So ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in.
Thank you.
Another amazing hour of Culture Gumbo blasting with Shakira the Hater and your man Will just
You know what? He says hate all the time, but y'all see how his rants go. So he can hate all day, but I'm not a hater. I'm a lover, not a fighter. But don't test
you started the show hating on me.
You
started the pre-show hating on me.
Then it changes. So
I'm not trying to hear that. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning into another show. As always, keep the main thing, and we will see y'all next week.
Peace.